My name is Anna, and I am 33 years old. I work as a librarian in a quiet town called Riverwood. My life has always been simple. I live alone in a small apartment with my cat Bella. Every day, I wake up, make a cup of tea, and head to the library. I love books, the smell of old pages, and the peacefulness of my job. But sometimes, I feel like something is missing. I've never been in love, and I often wonder if I ever will be. Every Friday, I take the train to visit my sister Lily, who lives in a nearby city. It's my favorite part of the week because Lily and I are very close. We spend the weekends laughing, cooking, and talking about everything. The train ride, however, is usually uneventful. I bring a book to read, and the journey passes quietly. But one Friday, something happened that would change my life forever. It was a cold autumn morning, and I had just boarded the train. I found an empty seat by the window, as I always did, and opened my book. The train was crowded that day, and people were rushing to find seats. Just as the train started moving, a man sat down in the seat next to me. "Is this seat taken?" he asked politely. I looked up and saw him. He had dark hair, kind brown eyes, and a warm smile. He was holding a coffee cup and a small backpack. "No, it's free," I replied, feeling a little nervous. I wasn't used to talking to strangers. "Thank you," he said, settling in. "I'm Daniel, by the way." "Anna," I replied, giving him a small smile before turning back to my book. For a while, we didn't talk. I tried to focus on my book, but I could feel his presence next to me. He smelled like fresh coffee and something familiar, though I couldn't place it. After a few minutes, he spoke again. "That's a great book," he said, nodding toward the novel in my hands. "I read it last year." Surprised, I looked at him. "You like this author?" "I do," he said. "Her stories are so emotional and real. What do you think of it so far?" And just like that, we started talking. We talked about books, movies, and even our favorite places to visit. I learned that Daniel was 35 years old and worked as a photographer. He loved traveling and capturing moments that told stories. He was on the train that day to visit a friend in Riverwood. By the time the train reached my stop, I realized I had spent the entire journey talking to Daniel. It was the first time in years that I had felt so comfortable with someone I had just met. "It was nice meeting you, Anna," he said as I stood up to leave. "Maybe we'll see each other again." I smiled. Maybe. The next Friday, I boarded the train as usual, and to my surprise, Daniel was there again. He waved at me, and I couldn't help but smile. "Looks like we're becoming regular travel buddies," he said as I sat down next to him. From that day on, Daniel and I started meeting on the train every Friday. It became our little tradition. We would talk, laugh, and share stories about our lives. He told me about his travels to faraway places, and I told him about the quiet joys of working in a library. Each conversation made me feel closer to him. Over the weeks, I realized that I was looking forward to Fridays more than ever. Seeing Daniel became the highlight of my week. He made me laugh, he listened to me, and he made me feel special in a way I had never felt before. One Friday, as the train neared my stop, Daniel handed me a small envelope. "Open it when you get home," he said, his eyes twinkling. Curious, I took the envelope and thanked him. When I got home, I opened it and found a photograph inside. It was a picture of the train window with the autumn trees passing by. On the back, he had written, "Thank you for making my Fridays brighter." I held the photograph close to my heart, feeling a warmth that I couldn't explain. One Friday evening, as the train was nearing my stop, Daniel looked at me with a serious expression. "Anna, can I tell you something?" he asked. I nodded, feeling my heart race. "I think I've fallen for you," he said softly. "You've brought so much light into my life, and I can't stop thinking about you." For a moment, I was speechless. Then I smiled. "I feel the same way, Daniel. I've never felt this happy before." That night, we exchanged numbers and promised to see each other outside the train rides. Our love story, which began on the train, was just beginning. Over the next few months, Daniel and I spent more time together. We went on dates, explored new places, and supported each other through ups and downs. He introduced me to his world of photography, and I showed him the magic of books. One day, Daniel took me to a quiet spot by the river. He set up his camera and asked me to stand by the water. "I want to capture this moment," he said. As he clicked the photo, he said, "Anna, meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" With tears in my eyes, I said, "Yes." Our love story, which started with a simple train ride, became a journey of a lifetime. Sometimes, love comes when you least expect it. For me, it came in the form of a stranger on the train who stole my heart.